Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. And on today's video, I will be predicting the entire NFL season. Before we get into today's video, please smash that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell if you're new to my channel. Chances are, if you're watching this video, that means you really love sports, and also drop a like on this video. Now, let's start out in the AFC. The Buffalo Bills, 12-5. The Buffalo Bills had a pretty good season last year, but at the same time it was a disappointing campaign for them because they were one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. In the playoffs last season, they played against the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC divisional round. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 27-10. Currently, Buffalo has made the playoffs for 4 consecutive seasons in a row, and they have also won the AFC East Division title for the last 3 straight seasons in a row. Their deepest playoff run recently came in the 2020 season, where they made it to the AFC Championship. They also had the top 5 offense and defense last year, and in this season they should be one of the best units in the league. Buffalo also has one of the best rosters in the league and is led by one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. So I absolutely think that the Buffalo Bills should win their division again, and they are Super Bowl contenders this season. The New York Jets, 11-6. The New York Jets had a better season last year, but they still finished with a losing record for a 7th consecutive year in a row. Their last playoff appearance came in the 2010 season, and their last winning record came in 2015. Last season, the Jets had one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and in the offseason, they fixed that situation by trading for Aaron Rodgers, who is a 4-time NFL MVP and a future Hall of Famer. Their offense was one of the worst in the league last year by scoring 17.4 points per game. And by getting Aaron Rodgers, that will seriously improve the offense this year. They have one of the best defenses in the league, ranking 4th in points allowed. And they should be one of the best in the league in the new season. I believe that the New York Jets will have a great season by making the playoffs and could have a deep run this year. The Miami Dolphins, 9-8. The Miami Dolphins had a wonderful season last year by making their first playoff appearance since the 2016 campaign. In the playoffs last season, they played against the Buffalo Bills in the AFC wildcard game. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 34-31. The Dolphins have currently had 3 consecutive winning seasons in a row. Miami's offense was their strength last season, ranking 11th in the league in points scored. And in the new season, they have a top 5 receiving group in the league. Last season, their defense wasn't that great, ranking 24th in the league in points allowed. And in this season, they should be an overall better unit on the campaign. So my prediction is that the Miami Dolphins will have another winning season and are going to be playoff contenders all season long. The New England Patriots, 7-10. The New England Patriots had a disappointing season last year by not making the playoffs after making it the year before. Since Tom Brady left the Patriots after the 2019 season, they have missed the playoffs twice in 3 seasons without Tom Brady as quarterback. And they have had 2 losing seasons in that time. Their offense last season took a step back by ranking 17th in the league in points scored. In the offseason, they brought a new offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, to help Matt Jones regain his strong rookie 2021 campaign. Of the quarterbacks in the AFC East, the Patriots have the 4th best quarterback in the division. The Patriots' defense was their strength last season, ranking 11th in the league in points allowed. And in this season, the defensive unit could be in the top 5. By all means, I think that the New England Patriots will miss the playoffs in back-to-back seasons in a row for the first time since the 1999 to 2000 seasons. So that's my AFC East standing predictions for the 2023 season. The Cincinnati Bengals, 14-3. The Cincinnati Bengals had another fantastic season last year by making the playoffs and by making another appearance in the AFC Championship game in a row. In the AFC Championship game, they play against the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 23-20. Last season, Cincinnati has won their division in back-to-back seasons in a row for the first time since the 1981-1982 seasons. Their offense was really great last year, ranking 8th in the league in points scored, and their defense was their strength, ranking 5th in the league in points allowed. For this season, their offense will be one of the best in the league with the very best receiving group, and they have a top 3 quarterback to lead the offense. I also suspect that their defense will have another wonderful campaign and could be one of the top units in the league this year. So my prediction is that the Cincinnati Bengals will have another wonderful season and should be one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. The Baltimore Ravens, 11-6. The Baltimore Ravens had a good bounce-back season last year by making the playoffs after missing them the year before. In the playoffs last season, they played against the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC wildcard game. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 24-17. Since Lamar Jackson became the quarterback in the 2018 season, the team has made the playoffs in 4 of the 5 seasons he has been in the NFL. Since the Ravens won the Super Bowl in the 2012 season, they have made 5 playoff appearances and their deepest playoff run was in the division round 3 times. Their offense ranked 19th in the league in points scored, and their defense was their strength, ranking 3rd in points allowed. And in the new season, I suspect their offense will be better and their defense will be a top 10 unit in the NFL. So I absolutely believe that the Baltimore Ravens will be a playoff contender all season long. The Pittsburgh Steelers, 9-8. The Pittsburgh Steelers had another winning season last year, and that's their 19th consecutive winning season in a row. Their last losing season came in the 2003 campaign. And in that time, they have made 12 playoff appearances with 3 Super Bowl appearances and winning 2 of those 3 appearances. Last season, they missed the playoffs after making the previous 2 seasons in a row. The Steelers' offense last year ranked 26th in the league in points scored, and their defense was their strength, ranking 10th in the league in points allowed. In the new season, their offense should be an overall better unit, and their defense should be a top 10 unit in the league. So my prediction is that the Pittsburgh Steelers will have another winning record and should be a wildcard contender this season. The Cleveland Browns, 8-9. The Cleveland Browns didn't have a good season at all last year by missing the playoffs for a second straight season in a row. Since the beginning of the 21st century, the Browns have made 2 playoff appearances, most recently in 2020. And also, they have only had 3 winning seasons in that time. Neither the Browns' offense or defense was that good last year. Their offense ranked 18th in points scored and their defense ranked 20th in points allowed. Last season, Deshaun Watson looked really rusty and had a 3-3 record as a starting quarterback. If he has a bounce-back season this year, the offense could be really good. Their defense in the new season could be a top 15 unit in the league this year if things go right for them. By all means, I think that the Cleveland Browns will have a losing season again this year and will miss the playoffs. So that's my AFC North standing predictions for the 2023 season. The Kansas City Chiefs, 13-4. The Kansas City Chiefs had a wonderful season last year by winning their 3rd Super Bowl championship in team history. In the Super Bowl, they played against the Philadelphia Eagles. They won that game 38-35. The Chiefs have won the AFC West Division title for 7 consecutive seasons in a row. And they have also made 8 playoff appearances in a row. Kansas City had the best offensive unit in the league last year, scoring 496 points. And this year, the unit will be the top offense in the NFL. Their defense was one of the youngest units in the league last year, ranking 16th in points allowed. And in the new season, they could be a better unit overall. They have one of the best rosters in the NFL, and the Chiefs have the best quarterback in the league this season. So I absolutely believe that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be Super Bowl contenders again and could possibly win back-to-back championships this year. The Los Angeles Chargers, 10-7. The Los Angeles Chargers had a good season last year by making their first playoff appearance since 2018. In the playoffs last season, they played against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC wildcard game. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 31-30. In one point in that game, the Chargers were winning 27-0. With that playoff appearance last season, that was their second time making the playoffs as the Los Angeles Chargers, after relocating from San Diego in 2016. Last season, their offense ranked 13th in points scored, and their defense ranked 22nd in the league in points allowed. For the new season, their offense could be a top 10 unit, and their defense should be in the middle of the pack this year. The Chargers have a top 5 quarterback this season to lead the team. So my prediction is that the Los Angeles Chargers will be a competitive team and will be playoff contenders this year. The Denver Broncos, 8-9. The Denver Broncos had a horrible first season with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. The team had a record of 5 wins and 12 losses, and with Russell Wilson as the quarterback, they went 4-11 in that campaign. That was Russell Wilson's worst career season in his NFL career. The Broncos haven't made the playoffs since the 2015 season when they won the Super Bowl, and they also haven't had a winning record since the 2016 campaign. Their offense last season was the worst unit in the league in points scored, and their defense was their bright spot, ranking 14th in points allowed. With their new head coach, I suspect that this offensive unit should be a lot better, but it all depends on how Russell Wilson does this year. Their defense will be a top 10 unit in the new season. By all means, I absolutely think that the Denver Broncos will miss the playoffs again and will have a losing record this season. The Las Vegas Raiders, 3-14. The Las Vegas Raiders had a disappointing season last year by missing the playoffs and by having a losing record. Since the Raiders relocated to Las Vegas for the 2020 season, they have only made one playoff appearance in the 2021 campaign. Their offense last season ranked 12th in points scored, and their defense ranked 26th in points allowed. In the offseason, the Raiders released quarterback Derek Carr and signed replacement Jimmy G to a 3-year deal. In the new season, their offense is likely to struggle with their new quarterback, and their defense is going to be one of the worst units in the league. By all means, I think the Las Vegas Raiders will be one of the worst teams going into the new season. So that's my AFC West standing predictions for the 2023 season. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 10-7. The Jacksonville Jaguars had a great season last year by winning their division and by making the playoffs for the first time since the 2017 campaign. In the playoffs last season, they played against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC divisional round. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 27-20. Since the beginning of the 2010s, the Jacksonville Jaguars have only had 3 winning seasons in that time with 2 playoff appearances. Jacksonville had the 10th ranked offense last season in points scored, and their defense ranked 12th in the league in points allowed. This season, their offense should be a top 10 unit this year, and their defense could be better if things go right for them. So I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars will win their division again this season and could make some noise in the playoffs. The Tennessee Titans, 8-9. The Tennessee Titans had a disappointing season last year by not having a winning record and by not making the playoffs. By not making the playoffs last year, that broke a 3-year streak of making the playoffs in a row. Since 2017, the Titans have made the playoffs 4 times, and their deepest playoff run in that time came in the 2019 campaign. Their offense really struggled last year in points scored, ranking 28th in the league. and for the new season, they could be an overall better unit if things go right for them. Their defense was their strength last year, ranking 15th in the league in points allowed. They did have the best run defense in the NFL. But in the new season, I suspect that this unit won't be as good as last year. So I suspect that the Tennessee Titans will be a competitive team and could be a playoff contender if things go right for them in the new season. The Houston Texans, 5-12. The Houston Texans had a horrible season last year and another rebuilding year. Their last playoff appearance and winning record came in the 2019 season. Houston had the second worst offense in the league last year in points scored, and their defense was a little bit better, ranking 27th in points allowed. The Texans have the third easiest schedule in the new season, and they also play in the second weakest division. This season, their offense isn't going to be that good at all, and their defense is going to be about the same as last year's unit. So my prediction is that the Houston Texans won't be that good of a team, and they will have another season of being in rebuilding mode. The Indianapolis Colts, 4-13. The Indianapolis Colts had a horrible, disappointing season last year by having a losing record. Last season was their worst season in wins since the 2017 campaign. Their offense was the third worst in the league in points scored, and their defense wasn't much better, ranking 29th in points allowed. In the new season, the Colts have the fourth easiest schedule in the league. The Colts offense this season is going to be one of the worst units in the league, and their defense is going to be slightly better. Overall, I believe that the Indianapolis Colts will be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. So that's my AFC South standing predictions for the 2023 season. The Philadelphia Eagles, 13-4. The Philadelphia Eagles had a fantastic season last year by making their first Super Bowl since they won the 2017 Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, they played against the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 38-35. In their team history, they have made 4 Super Bowl appearances, and they have won only one of those appearances. The Eagles had the second best offense in the league last year in points scored, and their defense was also pretty good, ranking 8th in points allowed. The Eagles will have an elite offense and defense going into the new season. They have one of the best rosters in the NFC and in the NFL this year. So my prediction is that the Philadelphia Eagles will win their division again this year and will be a Super Bowl contender. The Dallas Cowboys, 10-7. The Dallas Cowboys had a great season last year by making the playoffs in back-to-back seasons in a row for the first time since the 2006 and 2007 seasons. Currently, the Cowboys have won the same amount of games in back-to-back seasons in a row. In the playoffs last season, they played against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Divisional Round. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 19-12. The Cowboys had the third best offense in the NFL last year in points scored, and their defense was a top 10 unit in points allowed. In the 2023 season, the Cowboys' offense will be a top 10 unit again, and their defense could be one of the best in the league. So I absolutely think that the Dallas Cowboys will have another wonderful season and will be a playoff contender all season long. The New York Giants, 9-8. The New York Giants had a wonderful season last year by making the playoffs and by having their first winning season since the 2016 campaign. Since their last Super Bowl win in 2011, they have only made the playoffs in 2 occasions, in 2016 and in 2022. In the playoffs last season, they played against the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Divisional Round. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 38-7. Their offense last season ranked 16th in points scored, and their defense ranked 18th in the league in points allowed. In the new season, I suspect that their offense is going to be even better, and their young defense could take more steps forward this year. So I believe that the New York Giants are going to be a playoff contender all season long, and they are going in the right direction. The Washington Commanders, 6-11. The Washington Commanders had a decent season last year by having a record of 500. They have missed the playoffs for 2 consecutive seasons in a row, and their last playoff appearance came in the 2020 campaign. Last season, Washington had the 24th ranked offense in the league in points scored, and their defense was their strength, ranking 7th in points allowed. This season, their offense isn't going to be that good, and their defense is a top 10 unit in the league, and they will keep games close. By all means, I believe that the Washington Commanders won't have that good of a season, and they will finish in last place in their division. So that's my NFC East standing predictions for the 2023 season. The Detroit Lions, 11-6. The Detroit Lions had a good season last year by having their first winning season since the 2017 campaign. Their last playoff appearance came in the 2016 season, and their last double-digit win season came in 2014. Last season, their offense was the 5th best unit in the league in points scored, and their defense wasn't that good at all, ranking 28th in points allowed. Detroit's offense this season should be one of the best units in the NFL, and their defense should be an overall better unit this year. So I absolutely think that the Detroit Lions will be a contender to win their division this season. The Minnesota Vikings, 9-8. The Minnesota Vikings had a great season last year by making their first playoff appearance since 2019. While they won 13 games in the regular season last year, it came with a -3 point differential that ranked 15th and a historic record in one-score games with 11 wins that kept them higher in the standings. In the playoffs last season, they played against the New York Giants in the NFC wildcard game. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 31-24. Their offense last season ranked 7th in the league in points scored, and their defense was their kryptonite, ranking as the 3rd worst unit in points allowed. Minnesota's offense should still be a top 10 unit in the new season, and their defense is still going to be their weakness. By all means, I think that the Minnesota Vikings won't be as good as last year, but they should still be a playoff contender this year. The Green Bay Packers, 6-11. The Green Bay Packers had a horrible, disappointing season last year by missing the playoffs and by having a losing record. By missing the playoffs last year, that ended their 3 consecutive seasons of winning the same amount of games. And also that ended their 3 consecutive playoff appearances in a row. In the offseason, the Green Bay Packers departed with 4-time NFL MVP and future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers. And now all eyes are on the new quarterback Jordan Love. Their offense last season ranked 14th in the league in points scored, and their defense ranked 17th in points allowed. In the new season, their offense isn't going to be that great and could be ranked near the bottom, and their defense could be their strength this year. By all means, I think that the Green Bay Packers will have some growing pains with their young quarterback and will miss the playoffs this year. The Chicago Bears, 5-12. The Chicago Bears had their worst season in franchise history last year. They had a record of 3 wins and 14 losses. Their last winning record and playoff appearance came in the 2020 season. Since the beginning of the 21st century, the Bears have made the playoffs 6 times in that period, with 1 Super Bowl appearance in 2006. Last season, their offense wasn't that great, ranking 24th in points scored, and their defense was the worst unit in the NFL. This season, their offense should be an overall better unit, and their defense will still be one of the worst units in the NFL again. So my prediction is that the Chicago Bears will be a slightly better team, but they won't be a playoff contender for the new season. So that's my NFC North standing predictions for the 2023 season. The San Francisco 49ers, 12-5. The San Francisco 49ers had another great season last year by making the NFC Conference Championship game for the 2nd year in a row. In that NFC Conference Championship game, they played against the Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 31-7. The last time the 49ers made 3 straight playoff appearances in a row was from 2011 to the 2013 seasons. Last season, their offense was one of the top units, ranking 6th in points scored, and their defense was the best unit in the league in points allowed. In the new season, their offense could be one of the best, and their defense should be the best unit in the NFL. So I absolutely think that the San Francisco 49ers are Super Bowl contenders this season. The Seattle Seahawks, 11-6. The Seattle Seahawks had a surprising season last year by making the playoffs in a rebuilding year. That would be thanks to their quarterback Geno Smith, who became the starting quarterback after they traded Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos in the prior offseason. His breakout season is no fluke, and he was a top 10 quarterback in the league, and he was named the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. And in the offseason, they re-signed him to a 3-year deal. In that playoff appearance, they play against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC wildcard game. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 41-23. The Seahawks offense ranked 9th in the league in points scored, and their defense was their kryptonite, ranking 25th in points allowed. This season, their offense will be led by a top 10 quarterback, and they will have one of the best receiving groups in the NFL. And this unit could be a top 10 offense this year. Their defense will be an improved unit in the new season. So I absolutely think that the Seattle Seahawks will be a playoff contender, and maybe they could win their division this year. The Los Angeles Rams, 7-10. The Los Angeles Rams had a disappointing season last year by missing the playoffs and by having a losing record, after winning the Super Bowl in the previous year. Since 2017, they have made the playoffs 4 times, with 2 Super Bowl appearances in that period. The Rams' offense wasn't that good, ranking 27th in points scored, and their defense wasn't much better, ranking 21st in points allowed. In the new season, their offense should be a lot better, and their defense should be the worst unit in the NFL. The Rams do have some really talented players on their team, but this roster isn't as good as the 49ers or Seahawks. By all means, I think the Los Angeles Rams won't be that good of a team, and they will miss the playoffs again this year. The Arizona Cardinals, 2-15. The Arizona Cardinals had a horrible season last year by being the 3rd worst team in the NFL. They ended last season with a 7-game losing streak with a final record of 4 wins and 13 losses. Last season, their offense ranked 21st in points scored, and their defense was the 2nd worst unit in the NFL in points allowed. In the offseason, the team decided to strip down their roster and start a complete rebuild for the upcoming season. The Cardinals' offense this year could be the worst unit in the NFL, and their defense shouldn't be much better at all. So my prediction is that the Arizona Cardinals will be the worst team in the NFL this year. So that's my NFC West standing predictions for the 2023 season. The New Orleans Saints, 9-8. The New Orleans Saints had a bad season last year by having their first losing season since 2016. They also missed the playoffs last year for the 2nd consecutive year in a row. Their offense last season ranked 22nd in the NFL in points scored, and their defense was the strength of the team, ranking 9th in points allowed. In the offseason, the Saints got a new quarterback named Derek Carr, and he will help improve this offense for the upcoming season. For the new season, their defense still has the potential to be pretty good, but I suspect that this unit could be in the top 12 this year. By all means, I think that the Saints will be a contender to win their division this season. The Atlanta Falcons, 8-9. The Atlanta Falcons had a lot better season last year than they could have had. They haven't made the playoffs or had a winning record since the 2017 season. Last season, the Falcons' offense was the strength of the team, ranking 15th in points scored. And their defense wasn't that great, ranking 23rd in the NFL in points allowed. For this season, their offense could be better if their young quarterback continues to develop in the new season, and their defense will be a lot better unit overall. So my prediction is that the Atlanta Falcons will compete for their division title this year. The Carolina Panthers, 7-10. The Carolina Panthers had another bad season last year by having a losing record again for the 5th consecutive season in a row. Their last winning season and playoff appearance came in the 2017 campaign. The Panthers' offense last season ranked 20th in the league in points scored, and their defense was not much better, ranking 19th in points allowed. In the new season, their offense could go through some growing pains with their number 1 overall pick of the NFL draft, Bryce Young, at quarterback, and we will see how he does in the first year in the NFL. This season, I suspect that their defense could be an overall better unit on the year. So I absolutely think that the Carolina Panthers could be a contender to win their division if things go right for them throughout the year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 5-12. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a decent season last year by making the playoffs and by winning their division for the 2nd straight year in a row. But at the same time, it wasn't that impressive of a season for them. They won their division with a losing record of 8 wins and 9 losses with Tom Brady as the quarterback. In the playoffs last season, they played against the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC wildcard game. Unfortunately for them, they lost that game 31-14. That playoff game was the last NFL game that Tom Brady will ever play, and now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a new quarterback named Baker Mayfield. Their offense wasn't that great, ranking 25th in points scored, and their defense ranked 13th in the NFL in points allowed. For this season, their offense isn't going to be that good, and their defense is going to be the bright spot on this team. By all means, I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won't be that good of a team and will miss the playoffs this year. So that's my NFC South standing predictions for the 2023 season. So those are my NFL predictions for this season. What are your season predictions? Who do you think will be the best team in the league this year? Let me know in the comments down below. Before you leave, please smash that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell if you're new to my channel. And if you love sports, this is definitely the channel for you, and share this video with more sports fans. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Nathan and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Just keep loving sports.